We are gathered here today to sip some tea, honey, so make sure you guys have your teacups ready because this tea is what? Piping hot. Hey, you guys, it's your girl T, and I hope everybody's doing good today. Make sure you guys have your teacups ready.
Get ready. Y'all get ready.
Yes, you get ready.
Because this tea is what? Piping hot. Good morning, everybody. I know I've been gone for a few weeks here. As you guys know, I had to undergo major surgery. And I finally feel somewhat okay to do a video. Just bear with me here. It's still kind of hard for me to get stuff out. But anyways, I wanted to come on here and talk about the whole net neutrality situation. One of my bloggers, she texted me yesterday to let me know that net neutrality had been repealed. And so me and my son were talking about it, and you know, there's a lot of false information being spread. A lot of kids were scared, like, you know, Snapchat will no longer be free. We'll probably have to pay $20 a month just to Snapchat and Instagram. So there's a lot of information, disinformation, and misinformation being put out there. And I know she, along with a lot of people, wanted to know how I felt about this, being a YouTuber, and how this will affect us as YouTubers. So for those of you guys who don't know anything about net neutrality and what this means to us, especially for people in the Black community, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a short video kind of explaining what net neutrality is. It's really short. Watch this, and I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
Net neutrality rules classify high-speed internet as a public utility. The goal is to ensure consumers have open and equal access to all content on the internet. Here's how it works. When you download content from the internet, it arrives in packets of data. Think of the packets as literal packages. Let's say you want to watch a Netflix movie, which is 10 packages big. First you order, but before Netflix ships, those packages have to go through a sorting facility. In this analogy, that's an internet service provider, like Verizon or Comcast. Now, what net neutrality means is that all packages must be delivered at the same rate. And currently, there are FCC rules in place to make sure that happens.
Okay, so you guys just saw that video. So they basically explained it by saying that all data, no matter what type of data, it doesn't matter if you're ordering something off of Amazon, if you're trying to watch Netflix, everything should arrive to you on your computer, iPad, or phone at the same time. But now that net neutrality has been repealed as of yesterday, that's not what's going to happen. And basically the FCC and, you know, everybody's favorite chairman, Ajit Pai, they basically ruled to end net neutrality, and they're saying that it's supposed to help consumers and it's supposed to make things more fair. But let's keep this all the way 100. This is not about consumers. Anybody believing that this is a way to help consumers is being fooled, okay? This is about money. This is nothing more than a government plan to basically, you know, make internet service providers and their executives millions of dollars in profit. It's about money, point blank, period. Now, I will say this is somebody who has worked in the IT field, who comes from an IT background. I can understand it from a technical point of view. Like, I get why the internet service providers would want this, because a lot of people are not looking at it from a technical point of view. Most people, including myself initially, are looking at this from an emotional point of view or from the point of view of a consumer.
Y'all niggas are fucking everywhere. Like, I don't want to share this with y'all. I'm sorry.
And so what a lot of people also don't realize from a technical point of view is that companies like Verizon and Comcast, they have spent billions of dollars to build their networks, to build their infrastructures, to build all this 4G goodness, and now they're getting ready to upgrade to 5G. Basically, they spent billions of dollars on doing this, only to see companies like Netflix and Amazon exploit their highways for free. So basically what they're saying is that companies like YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, because these are some of the biggest companies in the world that we all spend time on their platforms. Since I've been sick and got done with my surgery, I spent a lot of time literally laid up in bed or on my couch, Netflixing and chilling, you know, with the people who came to visit me and the kids and my family. I watched all of Stranger Things and, you know, all types of really good shows I got a chance to catch up on Netflix. And I enjoy Netflix, you know, but coming from a technical point of view, I do understand that companies like Netflix, YouTube, and Amazon are kind of exploiting these measures, because to make sites like Netflix and YouTube run, they do take up a lot of data. They do take up a lot of bandwidth, unlike a smaller company. Like, you can't compare an Amazon to a regular mom and pop website that might sell jewelry or they might sell products. You can't compare them to, like, how much data Amazon uses, a YouTube uses, a Netflix uses. So I understand that they feel like, why are we putting down billions of dollars of our infrastructure for companies like Netflix, Amazon, and YouTube to just exploit it, to basically eat up all our bandwidth, and then we're the ones paying for it? It's not fair. So from a technical point of view, I understand where Verizon and where Comcast and where these internet service providers are coming from. I get it. But what bothers me is, why not tax these billion-dollar companies? Why not tax Jeff Bezos? Why not tax, Susan? And, why not tax these people who run these companies? Like, I understand they tax them, but why not tax them even more? But then with that being said, if they do tax them more, what usually happens when taxes are levied? Then what happens is that these same companies turn around, and then us, the consumers, end up having to eat the cost. We end up having to pay for those higher taxes and higher fees. I think what I take away from a lot of this is, what bothers me is just the greed. It's like, how much more money do these companies need? Like, I understand wanting to be a millionaire. You have people now who are billionaires. I understand wanting to leave generational wealth for your family and for your kids. Like, I get it. But it's like, how much money does one person need? How much money does one family need? At the end of the day, this is about profits. The ISPs, they want to make their money for basically investing and putting down all of these networks. They want their money from these big companies like Netflix and Amazon. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they wanted to get rid of net neutrality. Companies like Amazon and Netflix, they don't want to pay extra money because it's like, hey, they're a monopoly. There's not really another Netflix. Yeah, you can say there's Hulu. There's some competition, but basically they don't want to pay any more money than they should have to. And then you have us, the consumers, who basically suffer from corporate greed. It's because of all this corporate greed and infighting. Who ends up suffering? Not these billionaires. You think Jeff Bezos is about to lose sleep behind this? No. It's the regular people who suffer behind this. And let's keep it real. If it was not for the internet has been the big equalizer. Okay, if it was not for the internet, there would not be people like me on the internet. Back in the day, I would have to fight tooth and nail to go to the networks and fight to try and get a TV show or a radio show, or hell, probably damn sleep with somebody to try and get on. Like, a lot of this stuff is being revealed now with all these sexual allegations. But now, because of the internet, it's the big neutralizer. You know what I'm saying? Because of the internet, you have regular, everyday people like me and many others who have been able to make a living off of the internet, who have been able to build their brand, who have been able to make a name for themselves. You have people who have become musicians because of YouTube. They become actresses. They become comedians because of things like Vine and Snapchat and, Instagram. They become models. So the internet is the big neutralizer. The internet has helped so many Black people. Okay, a lot of Black folks have been discovered because of the internet. Things like the Black Lives Matter movement started because of the internet. Things like the hashtag Me Too started because of the internet. People became woke as hell because of the internet. And now you have a bunch of greedy people, who are threatening to shut that down because, again, who gets affected by this? If they start charging 99 cents per email or $2 to search on Google for something, it's going to affect the middle class and the poor, not the billionaires. They can afford to pay those fees. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it could very well happen once, net neutrality is in place, where companies can now decide, hey, instead of y'all having all this free, Yahoo email, now we're going to charge you 99 cents per email. Now we're going to charge you for every Snapchat filter that you, use, or we're going to charge you every time you post something on Instagram. They're trying to make it more of a monopoly. And the sad thing is, we, the consumers, especially Black folks, honey, sit our asses on social media. We've helped the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Jacks of Twitter become billionaires because we use their platform. platforms. We sit on their platforms. We tweet all day. We Instagram. We Facebook all day. We've helped these people line their pockets with cash. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like these same billionaire companies, you know what I mean, should step up and fight for the people, because they have to understand where the ISP providers are coming from, and how, you know, if they were the ISP provider, how they would see it's unfair that companies like Facebook and Amazon and, you know, companies who are very, very heavy on their data usage are able to basically skate free, you know, and they're not having to pay anything. They pay the same as a regular mom and pop website, you know, but it seems like everybody's worried about their bottom line. They're worried about getting richer and richer. Meanwhile, the middle class and the poor are the ones suffering from all this. So if you don't know about net neutrality, I suggest that you research and you learn and you become very, very familiar with it. Like I said, I know it was proposed back in 2015 and was struck down. So much stuff has happened in 2017. 2017 has been a very, very interesting year, not only in my personal life, you know, with everything I've gone through, but just with the stuff that's going on around the world, things with Trump, the administration. I mean, it's been just so much craziness. The swamp and the cesspool that is Hollywood being drained. Every other day, there's a new accuser. Every other day, some man is being fired from a network or from his position on television. It's getting crazy out here. 2017 has just been nuts. And it's going to be really interesting to see where all this goes, especially with this net neutrality. It's going to be interesting to see how this really affects, you know, creators like myself and others on YouTube, because whatever they plan on doing is definitely going to affect the creators. It's going to affect the people who come onto the website. And if people can't afford to pay $20 a month for YouTube, $30 a month for YouTube, whatever they decide to eventually charge, if they do decide to charge on this site, that's definitely going to affect content creators like myself. So it's really unfortunate. You know, I get both sides, but at the end of the day, the only thing I see from this is corporate greed, point blank, period. At the end of the day, this is not going to be good for the consumers. They are basically trying to change the internet into what cable is, because as we all know, nobody really watches live television anymore. You know, television has been on the decline for years. The only thing really keeping television afloat is the sports packages, is the fact that people love to watch sports in real time. They don't want to DVR a football game. You want to watch that live. So that's really the only thing keeping these cable companies afloat. And they're really trying to turn the internet into what cable has become. And it's unfortunate because it's the consumers who get affected. It's the consumers who are being treated like trash. But we're the ones who made these people and their companies what they are today. And the sad part about this is with the whole FCC, you know, getting rid of the net neutrality, is that now you have the government working on behalf of these companies to rip off the consumers. And let's keep it real. Another thing that also makes me nervous with this whole net neutrality, once this plan totally evolves, what's to say that they're not going to use that to censor certain websites, especially a lot of truther websites or people who believe in certain conspiracies? What's to say that they may not make their websites, you know, just slow down to a trickle, so people get so frustrated they're not going to go onto the website because it takes 20 minutes to load. You know, we'll feel like we're back in the dial-up days as opposed to being in the modern, you know, 4G, 5G network. You know, those are things that can really, really happen. And when you charge money and you're controlling, you know, internet speeds, you're also controlling speech. You're also controlling who gets their voice heard, whose websites gets traffic, and that's not cool. You know, they're basically doing this to protect certain cash cows while killing others off. The internet was built with taxpayer funds, and to just say either, you know, come up with the money to pay for this or don't use the internet is not fair, because the internet is now a part of our day-to-day lives. So in closing, you know, I just want you guys to realize how important this is and how this affects everybody. Yes, this is an assault on our pockets. This is an assault on us being able to use possibly Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook, but also realize that the internet is supposed to be open and public, and this is also an assault on free press. Okay, this is another way to stifle freedom of speech, to stifle certain websites, to stifle certain ideologies. And I think we need to be looking at the big picture. Yes, it would suck if, you know, YouTube was affected. I'm not able to make YouTube videos. Yes, it would suck if we had to pay $5 to post an Instagram picture. And, you know, I'm just being facetious here when I'm pulling out these numbers. But I think the biggest thing that we need to realize is that there's also an agenda being pushed, and that agenda is censorship, because the internet has created so much stuff. It's created a way for people to make money, to become self-made millionaires, to become famous. You know, all types of things have happened because of the internet, but it's also caused an awakening in the people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what the government and a lot of people are afraid of, is that people are waking up. People are seeing the big picture, and people are able to communicate their ideologies and the things that they're going through with other people that they would never know if it was not for the internet. I would not know you guys. I would not know the things that you guys go through. You guys wouldn't know me and the things that I go through and my fears and my concern if it was not for the internet and platforms like YouTube and Facebook. So I think, to me, that's the scariest thing of net neutrality, and that's the main thing that we need to focus on, is that this is a way to censor people. This is a way to censor certain websites, certain ideologies, to censor people who don't agree with what's going on, and to censor people who don't agree, who refuse to be sheeps, who see the big picture, you know. So that's the scariest part of this entire situation. I don't want to make this video too long. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this whole net neutrality thing. And I'm so glad to be back here on YouTube. Bye. So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that like button. And make sure you click that bell so you can be down with the notification squad, honey. So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right. Deuces. Hey you guys, it's your girl T. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can also visit Lovelyti.com to purchase any merchandise. Also, don't forget to click the boxes down below to watch any of my previous videos. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.